Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 13, text number 26. Tam uchur vishmitastatra yajamanam artatvijaha avimchi huyamanani nate grananti devataha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The priests engaged in the sacrifice then informed King Anga, "O king, we are properly offering the clarified butter in the sacrifice. But despite all our efforts, the demigods do not accept it." No purpose. So text 27. Rajan havimchi adusthani shraddaya sadvitani te chandamsi ayata yamani yojitani dhritavratehe. O king, we know that the paraphernalia to perform the sacrifice is well collected by you with great faith and care and is not polluted. Our chanting of the Vedic hymns is also not deficient in any way, for all the Brahmanas and the priests present here are expert and are executing the performances properly. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is a practice of the Brahmanas conversant with the signs to pronounce a Vedic mantra in the right accent. The combination of the mantra and Sanskrit words must be chanted with right pronunciation. Otherwise, it will not be successful. In this age, the Brahmanas are neither well versed in Sanskrit language nor very pure in practical life. But by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can attain the highest benefit of sacrificial performances. Even if the Hare Krishna mantra is not chanted properly, it still has so much potency that the chanter gains the effect. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So the priests were engaged by King Anga for performing the sacrifice, was not being accepted by the demigods as indicated by the Brahmanas who are performing the yajna, great sacrifice known as Ashwamedha. Even though the Brahmanas have chanted the mantras with the right intonation to invite the demigods did not appear there to participate. Because this Ashwamedha yajna is not a ordinary yajna. It's a yajna where all the great personalities had to be present there of the entire universe. So all the demigods are the VIPs. They have to be present there for such an yajna as important as Ashwamedha yajna. So here the priests are saying that our chanting of the Vedic hymn is not at all deficient. Plus you have carefully collected all the ingredients for the sacrifice. That means the ingredients, the dravya for the sacrifice, they are pure. the Brahmanas preaching or Brahmanas chanting is also as per the proper intonation. And why is it the demigods are not participating? So they are just questioning. Maybe they have been insulted or neglected, but may not be. Like this, there is a questioning going on as to why the demigods did not participate. This yajna was being performed by King Anga for getting a son who would succeed his throne. So this was a way of Vedic living. Everyone was very much in a Vedic society, aware of the system of coexistence that was being designed, created by the Supreme Lord, with not only human beings, but with interaction with demigods. Human beings performing sacrifice for the demigods, and the demigods being in charge of all the necessities of life, controllers of various elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, etc. They would supply the ingredients in plenty to the human beings who engage in such sacrifice. So this is the ecosystem of the entire existence. When looked from the Vedic paradigm, unlike the present day, we only think, only this gross world is there, and we as human beings are there, and we can control everything, and bring everything to exploit everything for our own sense gratification. Isn't that the only worldview that is present today? That's the only worldview that is present today. These layers, unseen layers of demigods, all these things are not considered by the ignorant living entities, because this knowledge, cannot be with our gross senses, cannot be seen with our gross senses. There are finer, subtle dimensions of existence everywhere around us. So we are living in our own dimension, and our entire explanation of how the world runs is simply based on our own little speculation. That is the reason why we can never completely understand how this world works, how people's life works, how karma works. Nothing. They have no idea of this karma. Nothing. They do not have any explanation of why you are in one situation, you are in one type of body, somebody else is in another type of body. None of these things are ever even understood or even making sense to the modern present world, which claims to be advanced because of little knowledge with respect to some material elements which the scientists have gained the last 200, 300 years. So, this worldview, and we are all born in this present era, and our childhood, our education has also been this. And naturally we see the world in a limited way as consisting of gross material energy, not even bothered to understand the mind, how it works, how the intelligence works. All these things as a prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So our knowledge about the self, our knowledge about the cause for happiness, distress, our cause for our knowledge for all these things is very, very, very not only elementary, it is misleading and it is full of ignorance. When there is ignorance, then you cannot get answers for so many questions of your life. So the modern world, the modern science just simply eliminates those questions. They simply say that science is not going to deal with happiness and distress. Science is only going to deal with matter. And who will deal with that? Oh, let philosophers deal with that. The philosophers mean speculators. But there is a knowledge, there is a true phenomena that is happening behind happiness, distress, behind the soul, behind the body, the soul. There are real things happening. Modern science cannot even explain the difference between a living body and a dead body. So because there is no spiritual culture, there is no culture of the spirit. Spiritual culture means there is no culture of the spirit from childhood. Therefore, these spiritual, finer things about even the material existence is not known to us. So spiritually looking, we are all very primitive in our knowledge. The entire present civilization is very primitive. They try to say that those who worship God, those who read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they are all primitive, let's say, because modern is science. But we say that they are all very primitive, because we can, by spiritual culture, it is possible for us to get realization of these truths. Because most of these truths, they are subjective truths. They are truths in the arena of consciousness. They are not truth in the arena of matter. Matter is different, consciousness is different. So unless, and it depends, it is not this knowledge about consciousness, it's not a general knowledge that can be simply verified objectively. It has to be experienced, because spirit is about experiencing, and then agreement. There is a common agreement. Just like I say this is a table, you say it is a table, so it's a table. Similarly, even in the field of consciousness, what I say, Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no subjective way. You say how Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, it's a truth. Krishna alone is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the consciousness realm also, there is objectivity. But this objectivity in the material world is a reflection of that objectivity. So there is truth, not that in the realm of consciousness, whatever I think or whatever you think, that is a very extreme understanding of subjectivity. It is subjective. I have my faith, you have your faith, you have your faith. When we say subjective here, we do not say in that sense. Subjective, but it is objective. You also practice the same thing. I also practice the same thing, follow the same things, purify our spirit. Both will reach the Supreme Spirit, Krishna. Same. There won't be any disagreement. So, we do not fall into their system of understanding and interpretation and logic and all those things. Their ingredient. We are also very rational, spiritual, logic, rationality, reasoning is absolute faculty of human being, absolute faculty of the soul, but we apply it in another realm. My ABC is different. The modern person's ABC is different. He connects ABC according to his logic and reasoning and creates a mind world of this world, centered around the bodily concept of life. I have my ABC. There also, I have logic, reasoning, objectivity, everything is there. But my basic ingredient is different. My elements are different. My elements are spirit. Each living entity is in this body is the spirit soul. Body is matter. And this spirit soul is part and parcel of another supreme spirit. And the spirit and the supreme spirit exist in timelessness and material timelessness and spaceless. Not limited. The moment you bring them to this material world, it is a limitation that is experienced by the soul. Soul itself is not limited to time and space. That's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. That spirit is all-pervading. That means all-pervading means spaceless. It's in another space. There's a spiritual space. So how do we get into that realm? That is where we need guidance. The spirit is trapped now in this particular gross matter. The spirit is trapped in thinking that reality is equal to this gross matter, including thinking that about myself, I am this body. Oh, I am this body. So this is material world, the world is there, this much body is me. That much body is you. Because in his knowledge, existence is equal to gross matter. So the spirit soul, which is really not of this dimension, is trapped by misidentification with matter. And is only trapped in terms of, not physically trapped, is trapped in terms of his belief. I believe that I am the body. Belief is a characteristic of spirit. Knowing is a characteristic of spirit. None of these things, wall, floor, microphone, they have knowledge. The quality called knowledge, the quality of knowing, the function called knowing, the quality called knowledge, the quality called understanding. None of things are there as a quality of matter. That's a quality of the spirit in this body. So now we are trapped in this particular situation. And how do we come out of this situation? The soul is not, the spirit is not. I am not this temporary, material, machine-like body. I am a superior energy. I am Krishna-like, eternal. Chittanananda, Satya Chittanananda. And what am I doing? After identifying myself with this material body, what am I doing? I am trying to quench my thirst for Satchidananda. And that thirst is not of this body, this thirst is of the soul. But as long as I think I am the body, my hunger for Satchidananda will never be fulfilled. So how does one, here is the power of the mantra that is coming. So how is it that we can lift our consciousness out of this ignorance and become awakened to see matter as a consequence of spirit? Matter is true, but it is manifestation from consciousness. The fundamental truth of everything is consciousness, not knowledgeless matter. knowledgeful spirit. We are all tiny particles of knowledgeful spirit, which includes the knowledge of matter. But that knowledge of matter, I'm misidentifying as me. I have a relation. I am in this body. I have a relationship with the body, a knowing relationship. But that knowing relationship is corrupted by thinking that I am this. I know I am this body. You are the knower. We are the knower in this body. Knowing is a divine quality. Soul is divine. Krishna is supreme knower. So, to understand, and it is, see, Sat experience, Chit experience, Ananda experience. It is about knowing. Is it not? Only one experience means knowing. The quality of experience is only there in the spirit. The microphone is not struggling for self-realization. It is not struggling for Satchit Ananda. The body is not struggling for Satchidananda. The spirit in this body is struggling for Satchidananda. The spirit in this body is struggling for fulfilling Satta Chitta Ananda. And how can now, knowing the situation of this mistaken identity, life of mistaken identity, how do we wake up? Simplest process. Now it is mentioned here, Prabhupada in the purport, that in this age the Brahmanas are neither well versed in Sanskrit language nor pure in practical life. But by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can attain the highest benefit of sacrificial performances. Normally speaking, though the Lord has left us free in this material world to fall into ignorance, I am this body, and chase independent Satchidananda, still the very same merciful Lord has incorporated into this into the creation, a Vedic culture, a Sanatana culture, Sanatana Dharma, if in this material world, if you culture our consciousness according to that Sanatana Dharma, following the principles of Sanatana Dharma, which includes many things like yajna and chanting mantras and all these things, if you do that very properly, slowly the spirit soul can get mukti or liberated from this false conception that I am part of this matter and realize that I am spirit. And after realizing I am spirit, then there are many realizations. I am that one spirit, I am part and parcel of Dvaita, Advaita, so many things are there. But everybody's first common thing is Krishna allows everything. You want to be a Mayavadi also, you can be a Mayavadi. Krishna allows everything. You want to be a Karmi also, you can be a Karmi. You can be trapped in the gross material world, or you can become a Jnani. You need not recognize that supreme super soul. You can think that I am the super soul. Because after realizing I am the soul, then if you don't have the mercy of the Lord, you cannot realize further. So it stops there. Mayavadis and impersonalists, they stop their spiritual realization because they are believing that is the end of it. I am one. So, coming to this mantra chanting. So, these various mantras are given in the scriptures, which will step by step give different levels of effect, which will raise you to, just like first standard, second standard, third standard, you go to 10th standard. So like that, this Sanatana Dharma has got various prescriptions for living beings, grahasthas, etc. By performing so many yajnas and gradually raise your consciousness beyond this body, beyond your family, beyond your world, beyond your country, and then realize that you are part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman. So there are mantras. So In other words, the way to come out of this material world is step by step. That provision is there in this material creation. That provision is there. But that provision is a very slow process. That is called Pravritti Marga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us a Nivritti Marga, where you don't have to go step by step. Ultimate goal of all these things is for you to get liberated from this bodily concept of life and understand who you really are. You don't have to suffer the consequence of being a body of this material world. That is the goal. For human being. Animal is different. Once you get a human form, this is the goal of life. So now see how wonderful it is. In Kali Yuga, all these things, ingredients, mantra chanting, all these things will not work. Because you can't chant them properly, etc. So many, all the components are corrupted. That is required for a proper Sanatana Dharma living. The entire atmosphere is vitiated. So Lord himself comes as the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What difference why this difference between this mantra and other mantras? Why this mantra has that this is also a mantra. So many other Vedic mantras are there. Those Vedic mantras are impregnated with Shaktis to take you from first standard to second standard to third standard, like that. You follow the system. Then you can gradually raise yourself. But now these mantras, because they are mantras, those mantras have Shakti infused into it. If they are not chanted properly, those Shakti will not manifest in those sounds. In fact, it can have even opposite effect. In Sanskrit, you just add a, you get opposite meaning. Right? In so many words, we say a. So in your intonation, instead of saying something, you say something, then you get the opposite benefit. The dirgha is stretched. You say as okay. You get the opposite benefit. So now what is the difference between this Hare Krishna mantra and other mantras? What is the difference between nama and mantras? It's very important to understand. That's why Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatara. We should understand this is not ordinary mantra. This mantra being the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is He Himself with the Shaktis. So it is a personality. One may say, okay, I chant some Ganesha mantra. There also Ganesh personality. The personality, see in this body, I am the personality in the body. I am activating this body. Me, the soul, is activating this body. Body is not me. When it comes to Krishna's avatara, Krishna becomes that body because He is everything. That is the difference between these mantras and other mantras. That is the difference between Vishnu deity and demigod deities. Demigod deities, they sit in the demigod body and they exhibit their power, but they don't become that body, or they can, just like we wrongly identify ourselves as this body, I am the body. The demigod will think, I am the body of the deity. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna, because the entire existence is His body. It is Him. So therefore, once it decides to manifest in the body, personal aspects, everywhere there is Krishna. Everything is Krishna. But he has to decide to manifest his personal qualities in that deity. So it's in terms of God is everything. Just like in Prabhupada, people criticize why temple, God is only in the temple only. Prabhupada is to explain that God is everywhere. Then why he is not in the temple also? God is everywhere. God is everywhere and He is everything, including us. We are also amshas of Krishna. We cannot be separated from Krishna. That is how in the body of the Acharya, when Krishna manifests, then he is said to be non-different from Krishna. So this tattva of Nama, we have to understand. Nama is Krishna Himself. Himself deciding to manifest. Now, when the Lord Himself decides, the Lord is always accompanied by His energies. So the first effect of your association is transfer of energies. Therefore, Namakari Bauda Nija Sarva Shakti. Here also Shakti is entering the sound that you produce. But if you cross a certain level of your devotion, that sound is Krishna. Not only it is empowered sound, that sound is Krishna. According to level of one's realization, one can realize this truth. So therefore, in this case, Krishna, if you touch knowingly, unknowingly, as Prabhupada is saying here, even if Hare Krishna mantra is not chanted properly, it still has so much potency that chanter gains the effect. That is the reason there are rules. Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nam Namakari Vauda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala. There is no niyama. How to chant this? Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to stress this? Because every other mantra has a niyama. Only then you get that benefit. In this there is no niyama. Because it is Krishna Himself. And He has decided to mercifully come down in Kali Yuga, Kali Kale. Now suppose, no doubt, irrespective of how you chant, you will get the benefit. But you will get the maximum benefit if you do chanting properly as per Vidhi. You will get benefit if you don't do it properly, but it takes time. But if you do it properly, that means what is the effect? My soul has to touch Krishna. The effectiveness of different people's chanting is different degrees of effectiveness of you touching Krishna, who is before everybody. Before a neophyte chanter, before an advanced chanter, the very same Lord is descended. The degree of efficiency with which you touch the Supreme Lord or associate, you can say the right word, physically not touching, associate with the Supreme Lord as He descends, depends on various other factors. One factor which will accelerate the disappearance of the block between me and the holy name on my tongue, between my soul and the holy name of the tongue, is the mind. So therefore, inattentively if you chant, then you will not be able to take the holy name and make it touch your soul. Or you cannot associate with the Nama Prabhu if you are not attentively chanting. Okay, one is attention, but it should be devoted attention, loving attention, grateful attention. So many factors are there of the mind. That means there are so many conditions of the mind which determine the transparency of the mind to take the Nama who is on your eardrum into your heart. So therefore, yes, in the beginning we tell everybody, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Yes, it's good. Definitely it will have effect. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. We are not telling lies. But we also know that if you want very speedy benefit, then you have to chant as per the vidhi. That is the only difference. How fast you want to progress. Or you don't want to progress, simply be in the same mistake, you go on doing bad japa habit, doing thinking japa, then you'll be in steadily, you'll be getting your level of realization, one level of realization, forever, without going to the higher level of realization. So it all depends so much upon us. And not only it depends, and how much we succeed, not even in spite of us, depends on something else. The direction we get from the spiritual master, Krishna's Guru Kripa. Krishna comes as Guru and is Kripa. To get the spiritual master is one thing, and the next level of Kripa is your determination to follow what that spiritual master has said. And in spite of you having the determination to follow what the spiritual master said, the next level is you should have the strength to follow. Right? So therefore, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadat, Yasya prasadat nagati kutopi. So the process is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the process which is a shortcut. No first standard, second standard, third standard, nothing. Just chant Hare Krishna, jump right. Then PhD. In few years you are in PhD. Which takes millions of lives through Pravritti Marg, if you are determined. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. After doing all that, then you get Vairagya in the end. Then you look for what is a positive prema, ananda, all those things. First you develop Vairagya with this material thing. This is not exactly what my Atma is looking for. That is Vairagya. You get that Vairagya, then Nija Bhakti Yoga begins. So all that happens like this in one lifetime. If you simply become a good disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Every instruction of Prabhupada is mature fruit of total transcendental knowledge of all the Vedas. That is how we should see instruction of Prabhupada. Follow four regulative principles. You should not think it is some instruction to follow. It is the highest jnana. Those instructions are distilled out of the total jnana of all the Vedas. It is a technology coming out of the total science. Ultimately, what benefits science or technology? What becomes useful to man? Technology. So you may know the entire Bhagavatam, but if you don't apply the technology of 4 regulative principles and chanting and hearing that very sound, no use. Can be a Pandit. Anubhava you will not have. We want a realization. We want Anubhava. As much easily I believe and I am convinced that I am this body, to the same extent, in the same simple manner, I should be able to realize and live my life that I am not this body, I am a servant of Krishna. So, see the power of this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare, that is why Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Name Vai Kevalam, Kalau Nastyeva, 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 Gatiranyata. In other yugas, many other methods are given. Do this, step by step. Now, Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva. Nothing. None of them will work. Only the costless mercy of the Lord, because of the costless Nama Avatara who comes down, it is possible for us to attain spiritual life, to come out of this animalistic consciousness of this body to transcendental consciousness. Otherwise, not possible. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 28th verse, Prabhupada writes in purport that the soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth, therefore, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth, also death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. So, Prabhu, if soul has no past, present, and future, then in what realm it is existing in this material world? And is this law is applicable there in spiritual world also?
What is the question?
Prabhupada says that soul has no past, present, or future. So, in what realm the soul is existing in this material world? And is it applicable in spiritual world also, that soul has no past, present, or future?
See, in this very same purport, 228, no? Prabhupada himself is answering. The material body has no factual existence in relationship to the eternal soul. It is something like in a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated in the chariot. So that is the answer. It's like a dream. So why we have to validate that? My experience of past, present, and future, the scale in which I am living now, it's a dream. Just like if you are lost on the stage of a drama and the script of the drama, you experience a time scale which is illusory. It is a self-created time scale or an universally created time scale. Kala of this world has no place in the spiritual time. So Kala is an energy of the Lord manifest in this material world. Therefore, everybody is subjected to present, past, and future. But moment you go into for instance, it is said, the Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of non-existence of material body. Therefore, in either case, non-existence of material body. So, material body, first I think I am the material body. So, that means my self-concept is trapped in a false ego that I am this material body. Once I identify with the material body, then the material body has its experience of material time, present, past, and future. And different kinds of experiences. You take an animal, it does not feel a past and future and all like that, like we feel. It is living in the moment. Like a very small baby also does not feel future and past. It has no sense of time, material time so far. Just existence, that's all. Senses and action, immediate, moment to moment it lives. A baby lives moment to moment. As we grow up, we get the concept of perception of time, future, past. So these are all part of the time scale within the dream. Just like Brahma, he has another time scale within his dream. Just like if you see the biography of a person, a movie, the time scale in you will adopt the time scale of his whole life. In 3 hours, the movie is over. But your real life is going so slow. You have to live another 50 years more. You lived another past 50 years. So you are stuck in a material concept of time, but the mind can imagine. You put a movie, your times can go so fast. Our mind itself can create so many times, so many scales of times. So our scale of time, 100 years, my one life in this body. Just like let's say you are in a drama, and in a drama you played a role where your life was full of suffering. From beginning of drama to end of drama. You were a sufferer of pain, distress, everything. And you experienced that. Then drama got over. You will feel so much relief. Oh, I never suffered. Oh, it only 3 hours I suffered. 2 hours drama it was. Only 2 hours. My real life is, 100 years I have. In the 2 hours I suffered. Give me one more. Next drama I'll play again. If you want. Is insignificant. Similarly, our lifespans are all insignificant in this body, but we look at this is life, this is time, this is existence. My life is equal to existence. You make a very big thing about yourself as this body, which you are not at all. In the spiritual world, there is eternal time. Just like you cannot understand Krishna's multiple personality or his unlimited personalities. What kind of personality is one who can expand into so many personalities? You cannot understand. Similarly, there is time in the spiritual world. We cannot understand its details. But it is not material time you can understand. What are the material time? Material time's characteristics. It kills everything. In the spiritual world, there is no time that diminishes anything. There's an experience of time that expands everything. Expands Sat, expands Chit, expands Ananda. In the material world, even if you get small, false Sat, Chit and Ananda, because we all think 100 years this body will live. It's a false Sat. But it will die. Time kills everything. So the time has an opposite effect in this material world. The spiritual time has another different kind of an effect, which enhances rasa, ananda, everything.
Some luxury foods such as ice creams.
And here,
Hare Krishna Prabhu. How does luxury foods affects our quality of chanting? Like when we take sweets, cakes, ice creams and all, how does it affect quality of chanting?
how?
How does it affect the quality of chanting?
How does it affect the quality? No connection. No connection. As long as that is all prasadam, no connection. You take cake or you take sweet rice or you chant and hear nicely. But if it affects your mind in terms of you drinking one full pot of sweet rice, you will have problems with your body. Therefore, it will affect you adversely because your mind cannot stand, cannot be held. You cannot concentrate on the holy name. The whole secret of chanting is hearing the sound. Shabda. Lord is in the Shabda. Shabdavatara. Shabda after Shabda after Shabda, Shabda after. Don't thinking. Shabda after tam. Hearing. You will reach another accelerate. You'll run at 1,000 miles per hour. You'll run spiritually if you hear the Shabda. If you follow, it will take care of all the minor rules. The biggest rule is to chant and hear that very same chant. And the don't is what? Do not think. Hear, to do is hear. Not to do is don't think. Just hear. Because this sound is Krishna. Avatara. This is not, sound is Krishna. It goes inside, you're touching him. It's a shortcut. Without analyzing anything, you will get all the analytical knowledge. Because he's a reservoir of Chit. Spiritual strength you will get to control your tongue, to control everything. All the subsidiary rules and regulations of spiritual life will automatically follow. Very easily it will come. Take care of one thing, your 16 rounds of japa.